Hey everyone, and welcome to Presentation. Today we're looking at something you've probably seen in the news, the growing global trend of banning full-face veils. It's a super complex issue, so we're going to break down why it's happening and what it's all about. All right, so here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll get the key terms straight. Then we'll get into why these bans are happening. We'll look at the surprising list of countries doing it, check out the global response, and then wrap up with the bigger picture. Okay, first things first. You hear these words thrown around a lot. Hijab, niqab, burqa, and honestly, they often get mixed up, but they're not the same thing at all. And getting the difference is, well, it's absolutely crucial for understanding this whole debate. So what is the difference, really? And why does it matter? Well, it matters a whole lot because most of these laws aren't targeting just any headscarf. They're zeroed in specifically on coverings that hide the face. Let's start with the hijab. This is probably the one you see most often. It's a headscarf that covers the hair and neck. But, and this is the important part, it leaves the face completely visible. So for the most part, the hijab isn't the subject of these bans. Okay, next up is the niqab. And this is where the controversy really starts to heat up. A niqab is a veil that covers the entire face except for a small slit for the eyes. This garment, it's right at the center of the legal battles we're going to talk about. And then there's the burqa. This is the most all-encompassing of the veils. It covers the entire body from head to toe, and it even includes a mesh screen over the eyes. The burqa, along with the niqab, is pretty much ground zero for this whole global debate.
All right, so now we know what's wet. A hijab leaves the face clear, while a niqab and burqa cover it. That distinction is key. So let's get into the why. Why are governments around the world bringing down the hammer on these specific veils? When you look at the official reasoning, it pretty much boils down to three main arguments that states use to justify these bans. First, and this is a big one, is security. The argument goes that if you can't see someone's face, you can't identify them, and that's a risk to public safety. Tunisia pointed directly to this after suicide bombings back in 2019. Second is secularism and what's called social cohesion. This is huge in a country like France with its principle of laïcité, which is all about keeping religious symbols out of the public square. And the third reason, well, it's straight up politics. It's often tied to protecting a specific national identity from what some politicians frame him as foreign influence or even Islamic separatism. And this quote right here, it really gets to the core of that social cohesion idea. When the French government defended its ban, they talked about a certain idea of living together. What they meant was that for society to really function, for people to interact, seeing each other's faces is a basic, non-negotiable requirement.
All right, so who is actually doing this? Which countries have put these kinds of bans on the books? You might be surprised by who's on the list. Just take a look at this list. We've got France, Belgium, Denmark, and Europe, sure. But then you see Chad in Africa, Tajikistan in Asia. This table makes it super clear that this isn't just a European problem or a Western issue. It's a genuinely global trend. And here's where it gets really interesting, maybe even a little ironic. You might think this is a clash between the West and the Islamic world, but that's not the whole story, not by a long shot. A significant number of the countries with these bans are actually Muslim-majority nations. If you look at Central Asia, for example, countries like Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, a lot of this goes back to the Soviet era, which enforced a very strict form of secularism. Today, it's also about pushing back against what they see as foreign Arab cultural influence and trying to preserve their own distinct national identity.
So, as you can probably guess, these laws haven't exactly been met with a quiet welcome. The response has been huge. We're talking protests, legal challenges, and a really intense debate on the ground. For some women, the impact is profound. There are reports out of places like Kyrgyzstan that some are choosing to just stay home entirely to avoid being fined or publicly shamed. Now, on the legal front, things get, well, messy. You have this fascinating clash between two of the world's top human rights bodies. On one hand, the European Court of Human Rights has basically said these bans can be justified for the sake of living together. But on the other hand, the UN Human Rights Committee called France's ban a violation of religious freedom. So who's right? It creates this massive legal gray area with no clear answer.
All right, so let's pull back and look at the bigger picture here, because this isn't a trend that's slowing down. If anything, it seems to be accelerating. Think about this. As of 2025, we're talking about at least 21 countries having some kind of ban, whether it's partial or a full nationwide ban. 21! And all signs point to that number going up. And this timeline really shows you the momentum. Look how packed the last few years have been. The Netherlands, Switzerland, now proposals in Italy and Portugal. In Europe especially, this has become a major talking point for populist and right-wing political parties. For them, banning the veil has become a key part of their platform.
So this all leaves us with a really tough fundamental question, one that societies all across the globe are wrestling with. This isn't just about a piece of cloth. It's a debate that digs deep into security, religion, individual rights, and the very definition of what it means to live together in an increasingly diverse world. There are no easy answers here. So what do you think? Where do you land on this? We genuinely love to hear your perspective, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you found this breakdown useful, make sure to subscribe for more explainers like this one. Thanks for watching.